Hello learners, I welcome you all to the second segment of lecture number 39. So we've been discussing about Avon versus Costa Rica. In the last video we discussed about the facts as well as the preliminary objections raised by Costa Rica. In this video we'll be looking at the merits that were involved in this dispute. On the merits of the case, Costa Rica argued that it had an obligation to protect the environment and whatever measure that it had taken against the Las Olas project, that was in pursuant to its obligation to protect the environment. And Costa Rica further stated that if there is any inconsistency between environmental obligation and investment protection obligation, environmental obligation should be given prima facie importance. This is what Costa Rica was saying. The tribunal also stated that the right of the Costa Rica to ensure that the investments are carried out in an environmentally sensitive manner is anyway still there. So, in order to look at the question whether this was a measure that was taken in violation of a minimum standard of treatment or was there an unlawful expropriation, or this is something that's a legitimate regulatory measure of Costa Rica, the tribunal essentially had to decide the question if there were wetlands and forest at the project site. Then based on the numerous expert reports, what we could see here is tribunal had come to the conclusion that at least in one location of the project site there were wetlands, and as per the the presence of this wetlands sort of comes to a determination that there is also a presence of forest based on the Costa Rican local laws. So now that was there. Then the tribunal, on the evidence submitted before it, also found that this is something that was not revealed by the claimants to Costa Rica. So the tribunal stated that by not disclosing this, the claimants have circumvented from getting an environmental permit. So what here tribunal said was, the tribunal said even if there is a regulatory measure, there could still be a violation of the treaty with investment provision, provided Costa Rica had acted in an arbitrary manner or it did not follow due process and all of that. But on the facts of the case, what the tribunal found was the claimants had not disclosed the presence of swamp type flooded area and the forest that was located within the project site, and then they circumvented the obligation that existed upon them pursuant to the local laws. So since they are not disclosed it, they need not get an environmental permit. So all of these that the tribunal concluded was something that warranted an action from Costa Rica, and what Costa Rica had taken was in accordance with international law and domestic law, as well as it was not arbitrary and it did not breach any of the provisions of the treaty with investment provision. It stated that this is not violative of the minimum standard of treatment clause. Then there was also one more claim with regard to denial of justice, one of the tenets of the MST provision in the TIP. With regard to that, the claimant stated that there were many criminal cases filed against them, Interpol red notice were issued and all of that. But here also the tribunal stated that since they had not disclosed certain things, that is like the presence of wetlands and all of that, the tribunal stated that Costa Rica's action was proportional and it was well within its rights to issue an Interpol red notice as well. So on that ground also their denial of justice claim was rejected. So this is how mostly the merits of the case is decided, that the tribunal did not find any violation of the breach or any violation or breach of the TIP, DRCA, FTA. But one of the interesting things that happened in this case was Costa Rica also raised a counterclaims against the claimants. So that's what makes this case a very interesting one, and I'm going to dedicate one whole segment to discuss about counterclaims, because especially in an environmental regulatory measures, should the host state be allowed to bring a counterclaim for the environmental damages done by the investor? So that gives this particular case in that aspect gives us a very good guidance. The tribunal stated that there is a possibility of bringing a counterclaim, but in this case what had happened was, because of a technicality, they were not able to do it. The procedural defects were there. When Costa Rica, took a counter claim, procedural defects were there, so the tribunal didn't entertain. But at least in this case, the tribunal envisaged a possibility of bringing a counter claim against the investors, especially in the context of environmental regulatory measures. So let us discuss this in detail in the next segment. Thank you.